Brutal, barbaric raiders. Bloodthirsty men in horned helmets who burned villages and vanished into legend. But what if that's not who the Vikings really were? What if they weren't just pirates, but empire builders, explorers, and even feminists? And what if I told you they reached America and left behind more than stories? This is the real Viking Age, not the Hollywood version. And the 5 truths we're about to uncover will completely change how you see the Norse world. 1. The horned helmet lie. Let's start with the most iconic image, the horned helmet. You've seen it everywhere, but it's completely fake. No Viking helmet with horns has ever been found from the Viking Age. The horned image came from 19th century operas and nationalist art. Real Viking helmets were functional, made of iron or leather, with no horns. Horns would have been suicide in battle. This myth was pushed to make them look more savage, part of a long tradition of painting Norse people as wild others. Archaeologists have found exactly one ceremonial horned helmet from 900 years before the Viking Age. So that image of the wild horned raider? Total invention. It says more about us than them. 2. Vikings reached America before Columbus. Forget 1492, and Norse were in North America 500 years before Columbus, and we have the receipts. Leif Erikson, son of Eric the Red, sailed west from Greenland around 1000 AD, landed in a place called Vinland, now believed to be Newfoundland, Canada. In the 1960s, archaeologists discovered Norse ruins at Leanso Meadows, dated to approximately 1000 AD. Viking sagas describe interactions with native peoples, resource gathering, and even failed colonies. They didn't conquer. They traded, explored, and sometimes clashed. And they left before the Spanish ever crossed the Atlantic. The only reason Columbus gets the credit. He came with empire. The Vikings came with curiosity. 3. The Vikings weren't just raiders. They were nation builders. The word Viking means raider, but most Norse weren't raiders at all. In fact, many were builders, settlers, and merchants. Viking raids were real, but they were only one part of Norse activity. Most Norse were farmers, craftsmen, traders, and sailors. They built cities like Dublin, York, and Novgorod. They established trade routes from the North Atlantic to the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic Caliphate. Vikings even served as elite guards in Constantinople, the Varangian Guard. Their influence reshaped politics in England, Scotland, Ireland, France, and Russia. They didn't just burn kingdoms, they built them. And in some cases, they became them. 4. Viking women had more power than you think. Medieval Europe treated women like property. But Viking society? It was radically different, especially for its time. Norse women could own land, file for divorce, inherit property, and run businesses. Some were buried with weapons, suggesting they were warriors. Shieldmaidens appear in sagas, once dismissed as fiction, but recent DNA evidence suggests some may have existed. Women managed farms while men were away. In Icelandic law, women could sue men in court. Female Norse deities like Freyja were not submissive. They were powerful. In a world where women were often erased, Viking women ran their own households, and sometimes their own raids. 5. Vikings didn't vanish. They were absorbed. We talk about the Viking Age like it ended, but it didn't. It transformed. The Viking Age ended around 1066, after the Battle of Stamford Bridge. But Norse culture didn't vanish. It was absorbed into the kingdoms they invaded. In Normandy, Norsemen became French-speaking dukes. In England, they became kings. In Russia, they became the Rus and helped form what would become Russia. Christianity played a major role in transforming Viking identity, often by force. But Norse values, myths, language, and legacy lived on, even influencing our weekdays. The Vikings didn't disappear. They just stopped being called Vikings. So the next time you hear Viking, think bigger. Not just raiders, but rulers. Not just invaders, but innovators. They reached North America before Columbus, gave women rights medieval Europe wouldn't touch for centuries, built kingdoms, crossed continents, and shaped the world you live in today, from the words you speak to the laws you follow. The Viking Age isn't just a story of conquest. It's a story of transformation, and one we're still living in. Like and subscribe for more.